Florence's strong winds have already knocked down dozens of trees across our viewing area. Across the Carolinas tonight, hundreds of thousands of people are without power. Across our viewing area, power outages are already a huge problem. In Mecklenburg County, over 13,000 people are without power. In Union County, around 700 people.
NBC Charlotte's Xavier Walton is live in South Charlotte. Xavier, a lot of outages where you are.
That's exactly right, Fred. And you know what? The rain, it just started picking up here in South Charlotte. We've been here driving around the Myers Park area, and we've seen a lot of debris, but nothing quite like this here on Bucknell Avenue, just off in the distance there. You can see already one worker on the roof of one home where a tree crashed on top of that house. Here at this house, we're told this tree fell about 3 days ago, but take a look at the ground. You can see how saturated it is, and that's kind of the problem that we're going to be dealing with here over the next few days. We're going to go across the street. We're going to look both ways first, and then we're going to hustle on over. Come on, Will, let's go this way. All right, so now I spoke to the neighbor over here. The neighbor told me that the family was up in the mountains when this tree came crashing down, so they're okay. That's the important thing. But take a look at this. We're going to pick up some of the soil here, and you can just see how saturated this soil is. That's what everyone is worried about. I spoke to another neighbor who said they don't know if some of these trees are going to make it through the next 48 hours. So that's certainly something that we're going to be monitoring here in Myers Park. Reporting live, Xavier Walton, NBC Charlotte.
Thank you, Xavier. Yeah, that's the issue right now with all the rain here in Charlotte.
Well, tonight in Wilmington, the situation still pretty bad. The coastal city getting more than 13 inches of rain. National Weather Service says an additional 13 inches could fall before the storm leaves. And tonight, families are also dealing with downed trees and power lines and the damage to homes and buildings.
Take a look at this video. This is one of the first grocery stores in Wilmington to open up since the storm hit. You can see long lines of people and police bringing them inside in waves.
NBC Charlotte's Evan West has been in Wilmington all week long.
So he's driving back right now and joins us live. Evan, tell us where you are and how things have been looking since you left the coast.
Well, we're back in Charlotte on some wet roads here on 485 on the inner loop. We'll show you what the outer loop looks like right now. Quite a few people on the road on the outer loop. Here on the inner loop, we're about to take the exit towards 77, and not so many people out here, but very, very wet conditions out here all the way from Wilmington. I don't think we've gone through a patch without any rain at all, so you definitely want to be very careful if you get on the roads over the next few days. Closer to Wilmington, we saw a lot of water on the road, some ponding water in some places. I think it's inevitable that we're going to see some significant flooding on the coast as long as this rain continues to pour. Reporting live in the Chevy Storm Tracker, I'm Evan West. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Evan, thank you.
And breaking news just into our newsroom. Video captured in Wilmington shows people running out of a Family Dollar with cases of Coca-Cola and bags of items. That's what you see there outside that Family Dollar. The Wilmington police says they were aware of looting, but Family Dollar management has asked not to intervene at this time. Charlotte leaders continue to urge people to stay home and don't get complacent as many areas are under a flood watch and warning.
NBC Charlotte's Nathan Morabito found out their biggest concern is for people who live in those flood zones. Nathan?
Yeah, right now we're at Little Sugar Creek. Not so little at the moment, more like a river than a creek. I'm actually standing in the walkway near Freedom Park right now. I'm not about to venture any farther back. Take a look at the creek as the rain really just started coming down. There are about 10,000 pieces of property in Mecklenburg County alone that are next to a flood zone, or at least touch that flood zone, including 4,000 homes that just cannot withstand more than 11 inches of rain within 24 hours. And that's why in some spots, crews have actually gone door to door to get people out before it's too late.
I hear a loud crash, and my youngest, who was in the living room, screams around the corner, "Oh my God, the tree fell in."
Nicole Sanchez is still struggling to process this, a massive tree branch that crushed her house in Rock Hill.
It hasn't sunk in yet.
Landing right near her daughter's bed.
She had a poster hanging right above her bed, and the tree knocked that off.
Amazingly, Sanchez and her 4 kids are all physically okay.
My little guy had a hard time sleeping last night.
While falling trees like this are a big concern,
I am concerned about the flooding.
Charlotte's fire chief says the rain is the biggest threat, especially for people who live in areas that historically flood.
I hope no one is becoming complacent about the storm.
How concerned are you right at this moment?
I am more concerned about people that may live in flood-prone areas.
He and the mayor are urging those families to get out before the waters rise.
We want you in a shelter safe.
They want the rest of us to be sheltered too, not on the roads, tying up resources.
Right now, we'd like for you to stay off the streets so that we can keep the streets clear and to be at home and be in a safe place. And look at just that steady stream of stormwater dumping into Little Sugar Creek right now. Something else city officials want you to do, only call 911 if it's an actual emergency, like flooding, if the water starts to rise. Otherwise, you can call 311 and get many of your questions answered there. Despite all of this concern, city leaders tell us Charlotte is prepared. Reporting live, Nathan Morabito, NBC Charlotte.
Nathan, thank you.
Many of you have been sharing pictures and videos with us of damage and flooding in your area.
So NBC Charlotte's Brooke Katz joins us now with some of those images. So Brooke, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Fred and Sarah, these are just some of the images that we're finding across social media showing just what Hurricane Florence has done across both North Carolina and South Carolina. I want to start with this picture, though. This is actually from our Richard Devane. Take a look at the damage. This is out of Wilmington. Trees down everywhere along Country Club Drive. And unfortunately, this is the kind of scene that we're seeing out of the eastern part of the state. Mary sending this picture. Look at this. This is out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. You can see the siding just ripped off of that home. And then I want to show you this. This is from the city of New Bern. We've seen a lot of water rescues, dramatic video coming out of there. Trent Court, Lawson Creek Park, City Hall. Look at the amount of water that is on the road there. Now, we focus a lot about the destruction and the devastation, but sometimes these storms, they bring out the best in people. And I want to take a minute to highlight one right here. A local couple, they had to reschedule their wedding because of the hurricane. They didn't want to waste their floral arrangements, so they donated them to local cancer patients. A beautiful story there, and, you know, a little bit of light in the darkness that has been Hurricane Florence. Guys?
Yeah, we love hearing stories like that. Of course, we know flooding and storm surges are causing some serious damage right along the Carolina coast.
Amanda Rowley is live in Jacksonville tonight, a city hit hard by Florence.
And we were actually on our way to Jacksonville, and we got about as far as right there, Jacksonville city limits, because take a look, this bridge behind us here is completely flooded over. And if you look towards the other side, we're on the right side or right-hand lane, there's a police patrol car that's actually stranded there, and it looks like it's been tethered to a safety belt here. If you look towards the median, you can see water rushing back and forth here, a lot of debris collected. Now, on this left side lane here, we have seen some vehicles attempt, and maybe two not even make it across the road here, make it through the water. A lot of people saying they had to get home and attempted, but then again, a lot more people looked at that water and said, nope, I cannot make it. Now, a little bit earlier today, we did see a couple walking across the bridge, and they actually climbed the railing and kind of scaled it, climbed it down the way so they didn't have to walk through the water. They made it across just fine, but that water there is just too deep to safely cross. A lot of people, again, coming here, eyeing it, seeing whether or not they can make it, and that's definitely not the case. So right now we're hoping to, well, this rain's come down quite a bit harder in the last hour or so, and it's not looking like it's getting any better. I'm Amanda Rowley reporting. Back to you.
Yeah, that's the issue with that standing water. You don't know how deep it is, and you don't know if the road is even going to be there underneath it. Amanda, thank you.
My dad, my mom tried to go back home in Jacksonville. That's my hometown. Their house is flooded out right now. Of course, we are in for a lot of rain this weekend as Florence makes its way into our viewing area. The eye of the storm over South Carolina headed toward our viewing area.
So let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich, who's staying on top of exactly where Florence is headed.
Yeah, just kind of not going anywhere. That's part of the problem right now. The storm is just stationary, so we're stuck in this heavy rain. Flood watch is up through Tuesday morning, midnight. It's basically Monday night to Tuesday morning, and we're going to see that flood watch probably stay in effect for the mountains for a little bit longer. I will tell you, I was just checking, and I-95 near Raleigh, near Rocky Mount, all the way down past Fayetteville is actually closed because of flooding in eastern North Carolina. Now, the impacts for us, we still have some gusty winds, some downed trees. I think that threat threat could go up a little bit tonight as the flooding increases and everything gets saturated. That's going to allow for those saturated soils and the root balls basically to tip over as we get these winds to pick up. Let's show you the radar right now, and I'll show you some of the rain that is still out there right now. We are really getting clobbered with some bands of heavy rain. This is by far the heaviest rain we have seen all day moving across the area. That heavy rain has been producing showers and heavier downpours now within the last hour or so, and those heavy downpours continue to produce heavy rain, especially right around Mecklenburg County. Now, the wind gust here, notice that overnight we actually got a couple wind gusts that could be approaching 50 miles per hour by tomorrow morning. That will be interesting to see if those heavier wind gusts can be realized at the surface. Look at all the rain. There's the flood warnings in effect right now across our area. These flood warnings continue to develop as these rain bands shift in from the west. The rain is heavy now in uptown Charlotte down towards Pineville. Look at the rain to the east, though. This is my concern right now as we're starting to see some really heavy rain start to move into the region, especially right around Rockingham in Richmond County. You see these brighter yellows? That is a big explosion of rain that is moving through these areas, and this is all pushing towards the west. This is that mega band that is developed back here and is pushing in our direction. Now, if you're wondering where the center is, it's right there. It hasn't moved at all. If it starts to drift west, that's going to allow these heavier rain bands to move into the Piedmont through the evening hours. Look at all the flood warnings. I mean, there's so many, it's hard to imagine. And we will see flood warnings eventually moving to the west. Eventually in the mountains later tomorrow, that heavy rain band starts to move your way as we get that upslope flow. But right now, not a good night to be out there across Charlotte with the rain bands extending out to the coast. That's where we have heavy rain developing down into the tropics. This has a tropical connection. You see that feed? I call this a fire hose. It's like a pipe pumping in the moisture all the way back in here. As long as we see these feeder bands coming off the Atlantic, we're going to continue to see heavy rain. Some of these totals, they're almost unbelievable. 30, 35 inches of rain estimated by Doppler radar. But for more on the actual totals we have, including a state record, meteorologist Aisha Scott's got some of those totals, and they blow your mind. I mean,
they absolutely blow your mind. Now, the highest total so far that we've gotten in North Carolina, Swansboro picked up just about 30.59 inches of rain. Check out Morehead City, 0.75 inches of rain, 16.8 inches of rain in Mount Olive. Jacksonville, about 16, just over 16 inches of rain. Wilmington, almost 14 inches, and then Burgaw about 12.10 inches, so just over 12 inches of rain there. Now for South Carolina, not nearly as much rain. Again, Florence mainly stayed into North Carolina in terms of how much rain you saw, so North Carolina certainly had the higher totals, but in South Carolina, Conway, almost 10 inches of rain, Buck Creek, just about 8.36 inches, about 6.74 inches in North Myrtle Beach, about 3.5 in Jamestown, Jefferson, almost 3 inches of rain. And when we talk about all this rain, we have to watch the rivers very, very closely. And we're talking some major flooding expected with especially two of the rivers that I've sort of been keeping an eye on here, the South Fork Catawba River. Right now, just over 2 feet. Flood stage is at 10 feet. The forecast is 16.5 feet, and that's expected to happen early Monday morning, right around 8 o'clock. So major flooding is expected for that river. And then the Yadkin River at Yadkin College, right now, almost, or just under, I should say, 2.5 feet. Flood stage is 18 feet. The forecast, 33.5 feet, and that's expected to crest early Wednesday morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. So let me show you the forecast here for the Yadkin River, because it's going to take a gradual rise, if you will. So early tomorrow morning, the cresting at about 3 feet. As we go into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, about 8 o'clock, we're up to 8 feet by that point. 21 feet by early Monday morning, and then Monday evening, right around 8 o'clock, 27.9 feet. Keep in mind the record is 36.3 feet. And then notice what happens early Tuesday, 31.6 feet. So we're expecting major flooding here. And again, it's only going to continue to rain, and we're going to watch those totals very closely, Brad, as well, because again, the rain is going to continue through the weekend.
Thank you, Aisha. Yeah, those totals tonight through tomorrow, additional 4 to 9 inches of rain across our area, and that flood threat will be highest tonight through tomorrow. You see the flash flood threat late tonight, early tomorrow into Sunday afternoon. Things will start to improve as we go into Monday morning, but some of those flood threats will continue continue because we're going to see the rivers come up, like you just heard from Aisha. That's kind of a delayed impact. So let's take a look at Futurecast. How are things going to unfold? We've been in the rain all day, but now we're seeing the heavier rain band move across the Charlotte area into the overnight hours. Look at this rain. This is going to be a tremendous amount of rain falling at maybe 2 to 3 inches per hour at times tonight. So flash flooding probably imminent in many locations by tomorrow morning. Now, as we get into the afternoon, the rain will shift to the mountains. So the mountains will start to see big impacts Sunday afternoon, and even Sunday afternoon, we could see some severe weather because the sun could break out. That means some of these could be spinning. We could see some rotation in those before everything begins to dry out as we go into Monday, as that southwest wind develops and kind of gets all of this mess out of here. So we'll end with the 7-day forecast because this is the good news. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. We still have another 24 hours of this storm, maybe 36 for our area before things start to improve. The important thing is after sunset tonight, I don't think I would be out on the roads because there's already some trees down. Right. The water's really going to be coming out, and we could see some flooded roadways.
Wow.
All right, Brad, thank you. All right, Nightly News is going to pick up our coverage, and we'll see you back here at 7. Have a good night, everybody.
Here's a look at what's going to happen tonight. Look at the rain. This is the most rain we've seen in a long time around here, especially consistent rain. The heavy rain band parked over us through tomorrow morning. Check out the time, 8 a.m. You're going to go to bed with heavy downpours, and you'll wake up with heavy downpours. Literally no change in the pattern through mid to late morning tomorrow. Maybe by 2 o'clock, the heavy rain band will shift up to the north, but that heavy rain band will continue to pummel the mountains. This is when the mountains get into some big time heavy rain. When the mountains start seeing heavy rain, that water is going to start flowing downstream through the lakes from Lake James to Lake Hickory to Lookout Shoals Lake to Lake Norman, Mountain Island Lake, and then Lake Wiley. All along the way there could be flooding, and this is in the Sunday night into Monday. The one thing I'm watching for really late tomorrow into Monday, possibility we could have some rotating storms as we go into tomorrow night. That's a distinct possibility. If you want everything to clear out, it could take all the way until we get to Monday afternoon. As this stuff starts to move out of the area, we'll actually see some southwest winds and drier skies. We're going to be talking about some of this river flooding, which is kind of the next part of this. Meteorologist Aisha Scott's got more on what we're seeing across our area. And really the long-term threat here, Aisha, I think, is not only the flash flooding, but then those river floods are going to be a big issue down the road.
Yeah, the river floodings, also we have to watch the creeks very closely. I do want to talk about the system really quickly because, Brad, as you mentioned, we've got those really strong storms, which you don't typically find with these tropical systems, but it's moving over the Gulf Stream, which is really warm waters, and we'll have to watch these bands. These are the bands that were producing rainfall rates of several inches an hour, but these will continue to move inland as the storm continues to rotate through the Carolinas. Now, let me show you as we zoom in a little bit closer here. So the bands, as Brad mentioned, that we're watching are these moving through Southern Pines, also near Fayetteville, Lumberton as well. Those will continue to rotate into the area. Now, I do want to talk about some of our rainfall totals here because if you were watching us on television, then you missed this one, but I want to show you some of those rainfall totals. Actually, we'll get to that in just a second. Let's walk through the timeline, and then we'll get to the rainfall total so far. Now, for tonight, the heavy rain will pick up as we go over the next couple of hours. We're talking heavy rain, that wind advisory in effect as well, 25 to 30 mile per hour with gusts up to 50. And then as we go into Sunday morning, the heavy rain continues early tomorrow morning, winds gusting up to 50 miles per hour. But then through the day on Sunday, the winds will start to die down just a bit. Notice by Sunday night, those winds only gusting to about 20 miles per hour with sustained winds at 10 to 15. And then by Monday morning, we're back to right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. But again, the rain lingers. And then by Sunday afternoon or Monday afternoon, Monday night, we should start to dry things out. Now, let me show you some of those rainfall totals because they have been impressive. And we've been updating these numbers here. Swansboro picked up 30.59 inches of rain. These numbers are from about 4 o'clock today. So again, it's still raining there. So we're going to have to update these numbers as we get them in. Morehead City, about 23.75. Mount Olive, about 16.8. Jacksonville, 16.13, so just over 16 inches. Wilmington, almost 14 inches of rain. And then Burgaw picking up just over 12 inches of rain. Now for South Carolina, you'll notice not nearly as much rain as North Carolina because that's really where we started to see those heavier bands, and the bands really just set up over eastern North Carolina. But Conway, almost 10 inches of rain. Buck Creek, about 8.36 inches. Myrtle Beach, about 7.61 inches of rain. Jamestown, about 3.5. Almost 3 inches of rain in Jefferson, and the same for South Santee as well. So again, we're going to continue to update these numbers as we go through tonight, really, and even into your Sunday. Now, I do want to mention the rivers because we've been watching the rivers very closely as well. Right now, last check, just over 2 feet, but these rivers are expecting major flooding, especially as we go into Monday and into Tuesday as well. So flood stage is 10 feet, the forecast 16.5 feet, and that will occur right around 8 o'clock Monday morning. And then we're watching the Yadkin River at Yadkin College. Major flooding expected here as well. Right now, just under 2.5 feet. However, flood stage is at 18 feet. The forecast is for 33.5 feet, and that will likely occur for early Wednesday morning, right about 2 o'clock in the morning. So let me show you the forecast here for Yadkin River at Yadkin College. Notice by early tomorrow morning, 3 feet. As we go into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, we'll climb to about 8 feet, 21 feet by Monday morning. This is at 8 o'clock in the morning. And notice flood stage, major flood stage, is at 29 feet. So by Monday evening, 27.9. 31.6 by early Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. The record, 36.3 feet. So we'll be getting close to that record. And certainly we're going to watch these water levels closely as the rain continues to fall. Guys?
All right, Aisha, thank you.
Tonight in New Bern, residents will take any little bit of comfort they can get.
Yeah, right now we're going to send it out to Billie Jean Shaw, who's reporting for us in Rock Hill. And Billie Jean, you've seen some incredible damage at a gas station there.
That's right, Sarah. I'm actually in Fort Mill, downtown on the Spratt Street area, and we are at the Gulf gas station. Very popular stop here for the folks here in Fort Mill, and you can see this metal awning just toppling down. This happened around 4 o'clock today. A gust of wind just moved through and brought this whole structure down. Now, a lot of pieces have just been blowing in the wind, being pushed down. If you take a look over here, you can see where there's metal scrappings just that have fallen down from this strong wind gusts. They were up there before my live shot, and now they are already gone. We're getting a lot of reports of downed trees in the area and traffic lights out, especially on Doby's Bridge Road. Officials are warning people, if you do not have to get out in this weather, please don't. I know we've been only seeing small pockets of winds and little small bands of rain every now and then. It seems like sometimes are worse than the others here in Fort Mill, but as you've been hearing our meteorologists say, there is still more to come, and it is important to take heed to these warnings and just hunker down, stay inside of your home, because the strong winds, they're causing this type of massive damage. Take a look at this. Now, luckily, no one was injured. The gas station is now closed. The popular restaurant Little Caesars, who really stays open through anything, they're closed. They have to close their doors for the day because they don't want people to come out in this weather. And we're just watching the conditions around York County overall. And as soon as I get more information, I'll bring it back to you guys. Fred, Sarah, back to you.
Well, tonight in New Bern, residents will take any little bit of comfort that they can.
Yeah, they've been through a lot in the past few days, and right now a local restaurant is serving free food. Amanda Roldy joining us now with more.
Here in New Bern, this is the first restaurant we've come across that's open and serving people. But the catch is here, they are serving people for free. They're working without electricity, but they are being able to cook because they have gas stoves. We talked to a few people here today. This is the first hot meal that they've had since Thursday, and the owners here say they're happy to help. They've been here for 3 years, so they're happy to give back to the community and help those who may need that hot meal.
We have food, and we have the means of being able to give back to cook for people who don't have.
Steak or chicken, ma'am? A line of families trailed outside the back of the La Casa del Patron restaurant in New Bern. For some families here today, this is their first hot meal since Thursday.
You've been eating cold cuts and chips and all that type of stuff, but we hanging in there.
These women came in from a hotel nearby to pick up hot meals for the elderly and children staying there. Up until today, they've been rationing out food available at the hotel.
Just trying to get everybody fed. You know, we had some stuff. We took some stuff from our room. We had some friends of ours had gas tanks. We've been trying to cook sausage eggs this morning. Just trying to feed everybody, make sure everybody's got everything they need.
Inside the restaurant, employees are using gas stoves to cook quesadillas, ground beef, chicken, French fries, and refried beans. But they're doing it all in the dark.
We're using the cell phone lights to have light to be able to cook.
Employees say they're happy to help the community they've been a part of for the last 3 years.
A lot of people have lost a lot of stuff, and we're fortunate to be able to help them out in their time of need.
Yes, look around you. Everything's good. Everybody's coming together.
Now, employees here tell me they're going to stay open as long as they have supplies, as long as they last, and they're encouraging people to continue to come here to get those hot meals as long as they stay open. I'm Amanda Roldy reporting.
All right, Amanda, thank you. Yeah, New Bern really saw just the brunt of a lot of this with the flooding. The images that we saw with the drone were just incredible.
Yeah, and a lot of that coming our way, and we'll, of course, be tracking it. We're going to take a break from our online coverage, and we'll join you back on air on NBC Charlotte at the top of the hour.